I just kind of want to talk about peace, finding peace, peace within yourself, peace within the world, and just overall calmness about life. Because, you know, I'm not always going to be calm, I'm not always going to be, relaxed. Because there's times where I'm just having fun, I'm vibing, I'm chilling, the different ways I show myself. But at the same time, it's like you take all that away. It's like, how is my inner state? How am I on the inside? And I feel peaceful. Of course there will be worries at times, as any person does. Any challenge comes up, of course there will be worries. There's something on my mind, there might be worries. But above all else, I'm calm about it. I'll solve it, and if I can't, it's not worth the attention, it's not worth worry. It's not worth my attention. If it's not in my control, it's not something I can change. And it's hard to let that go. It's hard to let things that you can't control go. Results being a main one, I want this result. You can't control it, especially in things like, let's say, sports or something like that. Because imagine you can do the most you can in order to get that result, but then you don't determine it. Let's say soccer, for example. There's 10 other people on your team. You aren't held responsible for the mistakes they make or the things they do. They could score. Okay, cool. You could get scored on your team. Oh well, it sucks. But ultimately, it's like the result, as much as you can influence it, it's not completely in your control. So just do the best you can and keep it going, keep it pushing. And sometimes I lose myself in so much work. It's like I need to find peace, and I believe this is where it leads me to here, right here, just talking to you, and it brings me to peace, to calmness, and that's what it is. But also I feel as if sometimes like loneliness can just help us achieve it. I'd much rather say being alone, not being lonely, because those are two different words with two different definitions. Being alone, being able to sit by yourself in a room and just be okay, be content, and be calm with whatever it is you have going on. That's the kind of peace I'm looking for. Whether if I'm outside with a group of people, I'm happy. That's cool. I'm doing whatever. But at the same time, if I'm by myself, I'm also happy. I'm also content. I'm also calm. It's a balance between peace and chaos, in a sense. Without peace, there's no chaos. Without chaos, there's no peace. And how do we live with it? And what do we make of it? So, in the chaos, and I see that as in different ways, just relationships, financially, just mentality-wise too. What we think can cause a lot of problems, a lot of stress. Social media can also cause a lot of stress now that we're seeing more than ever. We're expected to have more now than ever. Like, so much more is pushed onto us. You don't think that comes with some stress? I'm not saying put all the blame in society. No, some of it is our fault too. We think of unnecessary things. We put ourselves in loop patterns, thought patterns that don't necessarily help us. But just taking a step back into just being alone and loneliness. Loneliness is just painful. It's painful to say the least, where you're uncomfortable with being by yourself. You need something to distract you. And I feel like that's what's happening a lot now. You take someone's phone away from them, they can't sit with themselves for 15 minutes. They need something to distract themselves. That used to be me too, I needed something to distract myself. Video games, shows. Those were the main two. Shows and video games to distract myself. And I never gave myself a chance to just sit there with myself and communicate. Of course I occasionally read, of course I occasionally just went out or like did something like that, but it wasn't really reflection. It wasn't really just being there in my own thoughts. It was just kind of a way, in a way, also distracting myself, reading, seeing other people's perspectives, sure, but it still wasn't my own thoughts. It was not my own thoughts. I was still going away from those. Playing soccer, working out. I was still kind of avoiding my thoughts. If you really think about it, you put your mind on something else in order to avoid that. So, there's healthy ways or healthy things you do, but then you also push aside that area of yourself. You may go to the gym, overwork yourself because you don't want to sit there. And I feel as if we need to find that peace in just sitting and just staying there and being at peace with ourselves. Because I don't know if you've ever just sat outside for 5 minutes and just sat there. I feel like it's so peaceful in the morning when you can hear the birds chirping, all of that. Sun rising. It's not too hot because where I live, it gets hot fast. It's bad. It is bad. It be reaching like 100 something. I'm like, but at the same time, it's like, that morning time, you walk outside, it's so peaceful. And I feel like our environment can affect it too. What we listen to can affect us too. We can't completely ignore it. I remember reading something about how vibrations and listening to music at certain frequencies affects us. So, maybe if it's needed, you can listen to music at certain frequencies for yourself to heal or to, I don't remember exactly how it affected it, but I just remember it affects us. Even just the meaning of the things we listen to. Is it sad? Is it upbeat? Is it calm? Is it, romantic or something, I feel as if that also affects us. Because it's not like you're going to go to the gym and just listen to some, for the most part, you're not just going to go and listen to some like Clairo or something like that, or some Mozart. You're probably going to listen to, Lil Baby or Lil Yachty or, some rock maybe. I don't know any rock artists, so. But something that kind of is just like loud and aggressive, When it's time, like a late night drive, you have something calm and serene and peaceful. Some Clairo, some Mac DeMarco, some Mac Miller, something like that. The Marias, Daniel Caesar, something like that. But where was I going? I was just talking about just music. But even so, dealing with like loneliness, and I don't know. I don't think I'd ever truly say I felt like lonely. I true helpless, because I always had people around me. I always had people around me that cared for me, that checked up on me, whether it was at work, whether it was at home, whether it was just friends. They always checked in on me, and I appreciate that. Because even though my mental was not always at its best, I had people that looked out for me. Because I remember there was one time I was going through it at work. My mind was just being battered by itself. It was being beaten by itself. I was putting myself down. I was, saying all these things and having all these thoughts that made me feel miserable. And a coworker just came up to me. He's like, "Yo, are you good? Like, everything good?" Because I felt as if he knew that there was something bothering me, And at that time, I didn't really talk about it, even though I'm not one to just openly express everything like that. But I said, "No, but like, thank you." Like, it genuinely meant a lot. It meant a lot to me. We weren't, the closest or anything, but we were cool. And I appreciated the fact that, he did that. He looked out in a way. And in a way, it puts your mind at ease, people looking out for you and you looking out for people. It gives you a sense of calmness and love in a way. because at the same time, it's like also helping people, you know. I feel as if helping people just brings peace to ourselves, and it brings positivity. And so, you know, when you help someone out, it's like you get that feeling, you get that good feeling of like, you know, I didn't really gain nothing from it. It was just kindness out of my own heart. And I'm glad to share it. I'm glad to share it. And just repeat it. You can say you're a kind person, you know, you can attach yourself to that, but it's just leaving the world a better place, leaving a positive mark in the world, however big or small your impact is. You know, and I guess it's living a life in which makes you happy. What means something to you? What means something to you? What do you do in your day-to-day life that adds meaning, to adds not just momentum, growth, but just peace and happiness? Because a lot of times I feel as if we don't really discover what makes us happy, because we're so caught up in life, and we get off, we're tired, and guess what? We just go on Netflix. And the thing is, that could genuinely make you happy. So there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with that. Just as a side note, I wouldn't say overindulge in it. I wouldn't overindulge in it. Just because we've seen what can happen. We've seen the effects that can happen. And I worry a little bit for the younger generation. Gen A, right? If we want to put labels on it. I worry a little bit. But at the same time, I think it's crazy how we realize like this isn't good, so we're kind of restricting more of social media usage for kids. Because we recognize that it's like, yo, this is affecting us bad. And I feel as if in the coming years, you know, those who become parents, there's hope. There's hope. That it's like, you know, we aren't gonna be so separated and so aggravated by just other people's opinions. That's the thing, and like other people's opinions shouldn't necessarily bother us. Of course, it may be a little annoying, I guess you can say, because it's what someone says, and it might affect you. But I feel as if we need to have a strong enough center to be able to receive it at its full, so we can receive the positivity of it at its full. Because imagine it's like you only just see the negative, you know, you only just believe that you aren't enough. And it's like when someone says you did something good, you're like, oh, they're just being kind, they're just being nice, they're just saying that for the sake of saying it. And it's like you discredit what they're saying, you're discrediting their word. And in a way, that's kind of crazy. I don't want to say rude, because it's like sometimes we don't know better. And there's another point I just want to talk about after, but I'll say it after. You know, but sometimes it's like we only want to see the positivity, so we may get a little stuck up, a little entitled. Hopefully we don't, but you know, we don't realize that things could be better. Not better as in, you know, we can improve. Not that the grass is greener or something, but in a weird way, yeah, but in another way, it's like, you know, we aren't always correct, we aren't always right, we aren't always have the answer, we don't always have the answer. Like, we can make mistakes, and when we make mistakes, we're like, okay, cool, you know, happens to the best of us. But sometimes I feel as if when we mess up, it's like we hold ourselves to such a high standard that when we make a mistake, boom, we get knocked off, and we're like, what do I do? I don't know. When we start panicking, you know, two sides of the coin, just dealing with the same problem, you know. And I wouldn't actually say it's the same problem, but it's an issue nonetheless. But in the middle, it's like, you know, whether you make a mistake or succeed, you know, you feel how you feel, but it's so cool. You keep it pushing. You know, you do well, someone says something good about you, thank you, I appreciate it, you know. You keep pushing, genuinely accept it for what it is. You mess up, it's like, okay, I gotta lock in, I can't repeat that mistake. Okay. And it's crazy how I'm just wandering at this point. My mind is just wandering. But the point I was gonna say is like gossip. I don't know. Gossip is just so absurd to me. Mainly because I always keep to myself, but at the same time I can understand why it's entertaining. Oh, this person said this. But I just hate that negative gossip, you know, where you talk bad behind people's backs or say bad things about people, or, you know, if it's an issue, it should be dealt with. You know, it should be talked about. It should be expressed. That's the thing. That's the thing I don't be seeing. I be seeing people complaining about issues and things to other people, not to the person who's there. And if they aren't willing to communicate about it, like being able to accept that criticism, the one, you know, on the receiving end of that gossip or whatever, the one it's about, it's like, maybe things have to be changed, maybe something has to be switched, maybe that has to be let go in a sense, you know, separation. Because there's no way we should be having chaos within our circle. Some people just need their lessons when they come, and I accept it, you know. That's why I don't judge anyone for it too, because it's like they could talk about me too. I don't know what things I could do. It could be that I just don't talk or something like that. I'm just in my own world, I guess you can say. Whatever they say, and it's like, okay, cool. You know, if they have a problem, that's on them. They feel whatever they feel. But I just wish that sometimes if there was ever an issue, it's like it'd be brought up to the surface, you know. But I guess that's just kind of what I want to talk about on that. It's just how do we interact with things that bring peace? As a final note, it's like how do we live life peacefully? I mean, there's a lot of proven, you know, techniques and methods, meditation, breathing, journaling, all of that, which is just reflection on the mind and things like that, reflection on the self and understanding the self, as we have to be at peace in here first, within ourselves. I guess at the same time it comes with self-understanding and self-discovery first. Who are we? Who are we? Strip away all the labels, strip away all the titles, achievements. Who are we? And what brings me peace? What brings my soul peace? But other than that, I just can't really leave it off there. Yeah, see ya.